All right, it is 6 o'clock. I appreciate everyone being here tonight. This is the school board meeting on January 13th, 2025. We are going to start tonight. We're going to stand and we're going to do the prayer and pledges, please. If you'll please stand. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings. We're so grateful for the opportunity to just come into this building, celebrate, and talk about our kids, our faculty, and our staff. We ask that we keep them at the center of every decision that we make. We ask that you watch over us, forgive us where we failed you. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, we're going to start the meeting tonight with some district celebrations. Our Lions Roar and Miss McNeely. How are y'all? Good.
It's Mr. Margo.
Okay, so I am Megan McNeely. I'm the principal of the junior high, and I am here tonight to spotlight something that has become quite the rite of passage for kiddos within Kaufman ISD, and that is Morrowland. It is lovingly named after Mr. Morrow himself, who this is 30 years. This is year 30 in Kaufman, and he has been doing Morrowland since the year 2000. He's done it every year except for COVID and 2006, but we don't like to talk about those. So this is how many years? 24. This is 24 years of Morrowland. It is something that his career investigations kiddos get to do. It's a hands-on lesson on entrepreneurship. The kiddos get to start their own small business, and then they get to do research about their small business, what they're going to sell. They sell their products, and then they get to keep their profit, like actually keep their profit. They make money. And tonight I have Carson, I have Andrea, I have Aiden, and I have Dana here to tell y'all about their own experience with Morrowland that we just had in December. And Carson and Aiden kind of tied for making the most money. They made over $800 each at Morrowland in December. So we're going to start with Dana, and Dana's going to tell you a little bit about Morrowland.
Morrowland started in the year 2000 as an economics lesson in Mr. Morrow's Texas history class. Students sold their items during the campus's 2 lunch periods. It has now grown into a half-day event that allows students to explore the dynamics of business ownership.
Students in Mr. Morrow's career investigation class end each semester by starting a business of their own. They create a business plan, file necessary paperwork with Mr. Morrow for establishing their business, and conduct research surveys among students on campus to decide which items they would like to sell and how much money they would sell them for.
As the event approaches, students create flyers to advertise their business as well as billboards and menus to display at Morrowland. Students also prep their items to sell and plan for the setup of their Morrowland booth. The day of the event, students along with their helpers set up the booth and sell their items as rotation of classes visit the event. Food is always a great seller at Morrowland. You can usually find someone selling walking tacos, barbecue, ice cream floats, or elote. There are also booths that hold drawings or sell craft items.
After Morrowland is over, students count the money they receive for selling their goods and compare it to how much they spent to determine their profit or loss. All profits and losses are compared to see which business was the most profitable for the year.
Okay, so we're going to go down the line. I'm going to have them tell y'all each what they sold and what they learned. So Dana?
So me and Andrea sold a variety of different iced coffees and festive cake pops.
Okay. And what sold more?
Probably the cake pops.
Okay, so if you could do something different next time, what would you do?
Probably promote better and maybe make more cake pops.
Make more cake pops and less coffee?
would make more inventory instead of waiting till the last minute to start going bonkers and printing a lot.
Yeah, it takes a lot of planning to run a business. Also, Aiden was so popular that he took pre-orders at Tomorrowland, and then he like collected the money even after Tomorrowland. So he made money even after Tomorrowland was over. All right, Carson, what about you, bud?
I sold freeze-dried candy, and
Nice.
if I could change one thing, I'd probably get a lot more Skittles because the Skittles sold really quickly and not everything else.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you guys think that you've learned after going through Tomorrowland? What did you learn?
Oh, for sure counting money.
What else?
Communication and responsibility.
Yeah, when I talked to one of y'all earlier, you told me that you learned how to be a salesman, right? That's a whole new thing for you guys, and you have to communicate really well, right? So, Warren, do you need to say anything? No? Let's give him a round of applause.
He doesn't need to.
We need some loans back here.
Could do a 3D model of the new junior high. Good job, guys. Thank y'all very much. All right, we are going to now recognize some School Board Student of the Month, Miss Jenny. We'll go over that.
Okay, so this month's School Board Students of the Month are earning the title of School Board Student of the Month for demonstrating excellence, responsibility, good citizenship, and a positive attitude. These students stand out amongst their peers for setting the example of what it means to be a Kaufman Lion. So our Helen Edwards Student of the Months are Russell Oliveris, and Charlie Hadley. From Monday Elementary, we have Salvador Escobedo. And Raylan Milligan. From Phillips Elementary, we have Quincy Smith. And Victoria Luna. From Nash Elementary, we have Carter Molly. And Samantha Mayo. From OP Norman, we have Apolinar Baltazar Nambo. And Dana Ibarra Diaz. From Kaufman High School, we have Aljor Miles. And Kaylee Wren. And from Gary Campbell, we have Catherine Martinez. Okay, she's gonna take y'all's picture.
As you walk out, the little metal spikes are over here for you to take home. We don't want to give it to the kids right now, but.
Yes, if you guys want to leave, you're more than welcome. Thank you guys for joining us tonight.
Thank you, parents.
of a wide range.
Cleared up.
Marty, they didn't want to stay for you.
All right, we'll move on to agenda item number 5C, and we're going to recognize some leadership for tomorrow.
All right. So each January, we honor the dedicated individuals who tirelessly serve their communities as volunteers, school board members, of course. Our school boards oversee the operations of local public schools and work to ensure that students are getting a high-quality education. School Board Recognition Month is an opportunity to show trustees how much we appreciate their work, leadership, and commitment to improving our schools. And this year's theme is Leadership for Tomorrow's Texas. As trustees, volunteers their time and expertise to guide school districts. They showcase their commitment to creating meaningful educational experiences and opportunities that prepare students for college, careers, and beyond. So we thank you all, school board members, for your contribution, for your volunteer time, because some people think that you get paid, but you don't get paid. It's all volunteer time. So we appreciate your leadership, direction, and guidance as we work as a school organization. Each of our campuses and some of our department leaders have left you with some goodies there. I know some people might think this might be their only board meeting this year, and they say, man, they got a lot of presents up here. So, but no, this is every year we do something for you all. I hope you enjoyed the little tokens of our appreciation for the work that you do.
Thank you.
Thank
you, guys.
you. Very thankful.
All right, no one wants to talk to us, right? Okay, great. So now we're going to move to agenda item 7, that's instructional focus. Actually, we're going to jump down to our bond update first, if you're following along on the agenda. Is that right? Okay. Be okay, Mr. Marty?
Thank you. Well, I'm excited. Happy New Year, first of all. Excited to give you guys an update on the schematic design of the new middle school. We've got a couple guys from Poe Construction are here as well. They've been in lockstep with this on this process, providing feedback on constructability and cost, and that's going to be part of the next steps as we're moving forward, be evaluating it. This is the small part of the team that we have back at the office working for you guys on this. And this will look like pretty familiar. I'm going to start with showing you kind of where we've come from, what you've seen before, and then we'll show you kind of where we're going. And I'll ask for your feedback on some things, and certainly want to answer any questions and gather any information that you guys might have. So this is, I'm not going to read this to you, but this is just a little summary of how some of the things we took from the launch, where we gather information from the community and from the building users, and how it's being articulated in the building currently. This, I don't expect you to be able to read at this scale, but it's a list of the spaces that are going to be in, that currently are in it. That's not to say that this might not change over time, but this is an evolution of a process for how we put it together. But this is the kind of the first step of a building, which is a list of summary of spaces and adjacencies and pieces that are important to go in programmatically. So this slide should look pretty familiar. You'll remember last time we divided into a number of tables, and each table produced kind of a concept. We pulled information from those concepts and then developed those into some main kind of ideas. And those are the ideas that were kind of a distillation of what each group found important, right? And so we've really tried to harvest those and incorporate those into the designs that we have moving forward. So this is what we showed you last time, which is kind of a really diagrammatic layout of the site, as well as some massing studies of the building with not yet with materials or anything of that nature. So, we talked about having 2 wings with the gym up towards kind of what would be the front of the building, which is north, which in this case is left. And then administration centrally located. We've got the cafeteria in kind of that salmon color, and fine arts up there adjacent. So this is kind of the next step of that. So here is the floor plan there. So you can see kind of the development. This is the I'm going to go back one. Okay, so development from here to here is the next step with the site. So we've engaged the civil engineer. We began conversations with the city. In fact, we've got a meeting with them in the morning on the site development. We're showing right now 1 entrance off of Houston and an entrance off of 34. We've got the potential now for 3 turning or 3 loops, right? So 1 bus, 1 parent, and you could even potentially do multiple grades, separate the grades, right? And lots of queuing area, right? We understand that traffic has been a big concern of everybody, and so we don't want cars backing up onto Houston, right? So we've got lots and lots of room right now for queuing of parents in multiple lanes there. And we'll begin to kind of continue to finesse this working with the city as we move forward. You can see the existing ag building there, and we're working on the plans for that as well moving forward, but it's the white box to the left. Actually, it's not currently disturbed by the construction, which is good and gives us some flexibility on timing of when that work can take place. We're showing a field or a practice field up to the top of the page. And our goal always as we're putting this together is we will be bringing you kind of a menu of items to be considering and to do add alternates, right? So we can bid these things out, and then you guys can decide as a board, what you want, which pieces you want to proceed with. So we'll be identifying some of these areas. We'll be coming back to you and talking about what we'd recommend with regard to that. But right now we're showing a practice field there, potential for a track, and some spectator seating. Potential for tennis courts up to the upper left side of the page there. So again, we've got the administration area is that orange area. The gyms are just to the top of that with the 2 classroom wings, and then cafeteria is that kind of pinkish or the salmon color, and fine arts is the pink. Any questions on site? This is a blow up of that floor plan. You can see the second floor here. And so what's unique about this space is we're showing the media center, right, the library, what we used to call it, on the second floor. And so there's an opportunity for it to really be a showpiece. It's going to have a lot of prominence, and so we want to treat that special on the exterior. And I think you'll see some of the options that we're proposing around how to do that. And so that is unique. We've got a lot of nice area where we've got the grades separate, right? So we've got labs on the second floor for the 7th and 8th. The 6th grade is contained in its own wing. And then 7th and 8th grade will be on 2 floors.
Go back, Marty, I'm sorry, to your site plan before
Yes,
that.
sure.
So show me where drop-off would originate. This is I'm sorry, because I was looking at the site plan on the slide before, but that
Yeah.
was just the prelim.
Right. So since then, we've worked to develop, so we need to stay away from this intersection, right? Because we realize that's already kind of problematic from a traffic standpoint. So we've pulled back to really kind of the midpoint here. We want to stay away from these 2 intersections, right? And we're showing 1 entry here off of Houston and then an entry here off of 34. The thought is that you've got buses that could either be coming from the service center or, from down this could be potentially the bus loop here, and then you could have 2 parent or student drop-offs on the north and the south end.
So they would go kind of circle around the parking lot in and out? Is that how?
Exactly. So that they would come in, and we want passengers on the building facing side, right? So they're not crossing of the vehicle to get out. And so they would come in basically like this and drop off and then exit.
Oh, it's on that side, it would be on the right side?
Right.
the
So,
south.
yeah, we always try and put the passengers on the building side. So they're not walking across the vehicle in front of them or behind them.
May I ask a quick question?
Sure.
The AP suite on the second floor, is that like,
So that's assistant principal,
Right.
right? And so the idea is to have some supervision out in those areas. And so that gives them the opportunity to have some administrative function on that both on the second floor and where the kiddos are. Absolutely.
Thank you.
You bet. So this is just a couple pictures of the existing kind of what we call context, right? So these are your current facilities. We want to acknowledge the materials that we have out there. You've got a lovely palette. We want to be using so we plan to use the Austin stone and that buff colored brick, as well as some of the darker panels. And so we really work hard to make sure that what we propose is going to fit in with the aesthetics that have been established of your current campus. And let's see if this will play. No, let's try it one more time. You may have to hit the mouse for me. Thank you. So this is an animation, maybe. There we go. Okay. Of the exterior. So you're seeing the classroom wing here on the right side. We've got the library is right in the center with that kind of articulation of the metal panel on the outside. And then this is the gym entry here on the left side. So kind of moving across the site there. Questions on that? So we've got the stone down low, we've got the buff brick up higher, and then we're using the colors from the existing metal panels. And we've got a couple different metal panel options I'll show you in just a second. And maybe one more time for me. Thank you. This is going to take you into the building. And so what you're going to see here is we're trying to bring some of the materials from the outside into the interior. It's still pretty early from an interior standpoint. But we want a nice kind of two-story volume at your main entry here. Bring natural light deeper into the building. You can see the prominence of the library above the administration on the left here with a secure vestibule access. Let's see if we can.
Those seagulls?
Yeah.
I made Marty put them in there for me.
I'm gonna have to talk to my guy about his yeah, and I didn't see one pickup truck in the parking lot, so I apologize for that too.
Wrong place.
Yeah, let's do that entry one more time, see if anybody's got any questions on that. So the administration is on our left, and that's where you see a little more glass. On the right would be in this case the sixth grade wing. There are some shared learning areas out to the front, but the classrooms will have a little more secure access. And then the library above, and we're suggesting some kind of interface visually between the library and the hallway there, up to that second floor. Any questions on this? Okay, so this is a kind of a bird's eye view of the option. Here's where I'm gonna ask for some feedback here. We've got a couple options here. I'm gonna flip through them, but we really want to both recognize the existing palette that we talked about with your existing facilities, and how far away do we want to deviate from that, right? So we want to so we've said like that this is a great opportunity to really highlight the media center, the library as a point of prominence in the building. So one option might be to deviate a little bit there with a lighter gray and what would be like a copper kind of an interior. No, I'm seeing heads shaking no there, so we'll move on to the next one. The other option would be to do a lighter gray, or the first one, which is I think what we showed you in the animation, which is really like that. That two-tone gives you a nice kind of an accent there, but it's not too far outside of kind of the palette you've established. And so that darker color would be kind of a metallic brown, or what we call kind of a bronze anodized look. That would match the frames and the windows, and we have some other metal panel accents throughout, and it's a nice contrast with the lighter stone and buff brick. We have consensus that this is a good option.
Did you get rid of the black one?
The black, yes, we're not showing a black panel. I mean, it's a very dark brown, is what we're seeing on your existing facility. So the idea is to match that. It may read to some as black. I initially thought in some cases it was black, but I believe it's a dark brown.
Can you run through? Yeah.
Okay, so this is option 1, option 2, and option 3. What one? Like one? Anybody?
I would go for 3, but
3?
Anyone else?
I like a little bit of the lighter, I guess, an offset, but it doesn't.
I like the copper, but you know.
You guys have say out there. You can just hold the finger up. Oh, we got a 1. A lot of ones.
A lot of ones? Okay. Very good. The ones have it, it sounds like. So this is just another kind of ground-based perspective. It runs really through the same color options. So I'll flip through this fairly quickly. It sounds like 1 is kind of where we're gravitating to, but if you see something that changes your mind, please speak up. So again, we've got the second option here and the third option. I got one more view, slightly different view here that runs through those options. That second one didn't take the right one, but. And then this is the athletics entry. So you'll be entering the competition gym with the auxiliary gym behind it. And then another still of the
Marty,
interior.
What would it look like with the dark brown and the copper?
We could pull one together fairly easily if you'd like to see what that might look like.
Any thoughts?
Go back to your context, because it's like, I think I know the brown,
Oops.
I guess it's,
So in most cases, it's that kind of corrugated panel. We're actually showing some of that corrugated panel at the high areas of the gym, but we're also using kind of what is a composite panel, which is a flat panel. It's a little more of a modern interpretation of the metal panel and the same finish on the lower areas around the canopies.
Probably what you see at the high school, that brown is probably faded out a little bit more, so whatever goes here is probably gonna end up initially being darker brown.
I just wonder if the copper won't pull out the colors in the Austin stone a little more than the gray would.
I wouldn't
So-
mind seeing it, like, as we go.
As an
Yeah.
option.
Sure. That's a fairly simple one for us to, that we could make a call on. If it's the same panel and it's just a color designation, it's fairly easy. So, as far as we could make that decision a little later, and that wouldn't be the end of the world. Do you like the copper just on the inside, but the exterior would be the darker?
Yes.
Yeah.
So in lieu of
I
the
don't
light gray,
like
it would
it
go
with
to that copper.
Yeah.
And I'm saying copper as a color and not like the material, right? So
It's
we all
not
know
gonna turn green.
it won't patina, right? Okay, that's a bad idea, and unless you really want it, it's expensive and it stains. But that would be a color would be similar to copper. Okay, very good. And you've got nice frontage here with good cover of canopies to keep the kiddos out of the weather. I really feel, this has come together quite nice, so we're very happy with the way it's looking. So, any other questions?
Who is in the queue lane for a very long time, I'm very excited about longer queue lanes.
Excellent. And do we have any questions for Pogue while they're here, or? No?
Are you gonna build fast? Hit the ground running, build fast?
and cheap too,
Yeah.
right?
Cheap, fast, and perfect.
Budget friendly, we don't want to see.
All right, lastly, I'll just,
Budget friendly.
What
will-
will we have to do? Will we have to do any fencing, security stuff around?
So you need to either have your doors locked or you need to have it behind a non-scalable fence. And so that's a decision that I know you guys are looking at in your current facilities. And in fact, I think I've upgraded all of them. But we'll be looking at where we want to make those delineations. Typically, the stuff up to the front is all locked, and then there are areas where you're going to have people in and out, you do to the fence. So we are tracking to finish construction documents. We're looking at June of this year. There will be another couple milestones between now and then. So this is schematic design, which is the earliest kind of design milestone. Then we go through design development. So I'll come back and present a design development package for you guys, and then the construction documents package. And that will be ultimately what Pogue solicits bids from subcontractor bids. And then we'll deliver to you guys a guaranteed maximum price based off of those documents. There'll be lots of conversations between now and then. And then we would proceed with construction with a fall 27 open target.
So potential start date construction?
soon as they can get it bid after June. So, you know, I usually budget about 3 months to get through that process, but it depends on if we're breaking out early packages. It's a little too early to commit to that right now, but
Three-ish
rule of
months.
thumb, 3-ish months, and I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, that's in line with what we were thinking, Marty, around early to middle September.
Thank you.
One of the great things is we are, you know, if we do see tariffs or other things that are from where it's advantageous to pre-order things, having them on board now allows us to do that as soon as we need to. And so it's a great advantage for you guys to be able to pull the trigger when we need to on some of those items that might be long lead times or seen price increases. And that is all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Anyone else have questions? Okay, thank you, Marty.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate that. All right, Dr. Roberts, we're going to talk about attendance boundary and new start and end times. Oh. Okay.
Hi, guys. It's so good to be back with you again. I'm Charlotte Bachand with Transcend 4. And it became clear during facilitation of the bond that your elementary schools probably needed to be rezoned, which is why we put together this committee. But over the summer, you guys did some different things with enrollment and verifying residency, which gave you some flexibility. And so your original attendance boundary committee was charged to maximize the functional capacity of your elementary schools, keep all elementary schools under capacity through 27-28, transition the bilingual and dual language program to one elementary campus, and then consider new start-stop times for all campuses. So committee membership, you can see that we had administrators from each campus, parents and teachers from each campus, transportation, food services, athletics, bilingual education, and central office were all present. So prior to the committee meetings, there were numerous planning meetings to discuss capacity, to look at your attendance boundary lines, building options, program considerations, and attendance at those meetings were superintendent, central office, Transcend 4, demographers, and of course BLK. Meeting 1, we did a demographic presentation, much like we did for the bond committee, same information, but with your new enrollment numbers, and we were able to look at that, and I'll show you those in a moment. We began to look at program considerations, and one of those was your bilingual program. And then start and end times. And we began to talk about start and end times based upon some issues that you were having with transportation. And so we'll look at those again in a moment. Meeting 2, we looked at start and end time considerations again, and then the committee voted on approval and recommendations for the Board of Trustees. And then that's why I'm here tonight. So we started with bilingual and dual language classes being moved to Monday Elementary, and there's lots of great reasons you would move a program. Some vertical alignment for students is most important, and then of course planning time as well as professional learning for those teachers. And so at the top, this is very difficult to read up here, but I'm sure you have a copy of that. Was your current enrollment, the new enrollment, for this year, with your demographers report extending out. And then we overlaid that with what would happen if we moved those programs to Monday Elementary. And you can see that it bought you a couple of years. In 27-28, that was your goal. You see that Monday is just slightly over, yes, over capacity, but that's if every student chooses to enter that program and all their siblings move with them. So that gives you some flexibility through the year 28-29. So why consider a tiered system? Limited resources is the main reason. You have a lack of bus drivers. You're currently short by 7 drivers. You also have 4-year-olds and 18-year-olds on the same bus, and long route times. You have routes that require students to be on the bus for almost 2 hours each way, with the average student riding for 90 minutes each way. So it's quite a long time on the bus. So dividing that, having multiple start-stop times allows you to, one, utilize the limited resources that you have, as well as separate 4-year-olds, elementary students from secondary students, and then really shorten that riding time for students. So separation would be pre-K through 5 on one set of buses and 6 through 12 on a second set of buses, with a proposed beginning start place for elementary at 7:20 and secondary at 8:20. And the reasons that they begin to explore a secondary with a later start time would be mostly facilities, 5A programs sharing 3A spaces. There's also some new UIL rules regarding students and them being able to be out in weather, Texas heat, basically, to practice. You only have one turf that's large enough for practices for your band, your marching band, and your football players. You only have one turf and your drill, sorry. You only have, you have no indoor facilities, and that new wet bulb globe temperature rule is really going to hinder students practicing during that heat of the day when you're generally right out of school 2, 3, 4 o'clock. And so moving your secondary later allowed those students to hopefully be able to practice shortly after school. Athletics and fine arts, they're all, of course, sharing those locations, those common locations. And then a later start time allows for groups to practice both before and after school, where if you had your secondary at 7:30, it'd be really hard to get students to school by 6 to practice. And then there's quite a bit of data on the American Psychological Association and the American Psychiatry Association regarding how teenagers benefit from later start times. If you've raised a teenager, you know they like to sleep late. And there's actually a lot of research behind that and what students are capable of doing before certain hours. And most of the research points to higher student success when school for secondary begins after or right around that 8:30 time frame. So the final recommendation from the committee would be to move bilingual and dual language programs to Monday, to finalize a recommendation for a tiered stop time beginning in the 25-26 school year. This was the draft that was shared with the group, but right now transportation is working really hard to minimize that time. Right now, this draft was proposed at a 1 hour start time, 1 hour time in between those two routes, but they're working to reduce that, which would allow you a little bit more flexibility on when you begin both elementary and secondary. And then your committee, 100% of them approved both recommendations for moving forward in this direction. Any questions? Wow, no questions? Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for
Appreciate
your time.
it.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Nothing? Okay. All right, we're gonna move to, let's see, agenda item 8, right? And then we'll come back. Okay. So this is all consent agenda items. Are there any questions regarding these?
Yeah, you're gonna have to pull the audit until he comes here.
Okay. So we're only gonna consent on 9A and 9C. Just because the auditor is en route and should be here momentarily. Okay,
Need a motion?
I do, Byron.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda item A and C.
Correct.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Miss Linda. All right, second, all in favor? All right, we are approved. All right, let's go to our superintendent report, which is agenda item 10. And Mrs. Keith, we're gonna talk about curriculum and instruction.
Okay, so
Unless the auditor is ready.
Great timing.
Let me introduce our auditor.
Thank
'Cause
you,
This is gonna be a
Grant.
new face to you guys. So, most of you, I don't know if y'all know this or not, but Dan has been our auditor for like almost 30 years. Same firm, but Dan has finally decided that he's gonna, hang them up and retire, and
Okay.
he won't travel more than like 10 miles away from his office.
he's still in the office every day,
Yeah.
12 to 14
He's still
hours.
working, yeah, he just, the travel piece, he's kind of cutting back on. So this is a new face for us, today, hopefully be with us for a while also. Mr. Steve Lacy, he's been working with us this year, and so he is here to present you guys the audit.
Thank you, Steve.
Where'd you come from?
Oklahoma.
Yeah, you're right.
The sad thing is, it took me 45 minutes to get out of Denver.
Absolutely.
That was the crazy part.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, first, on behalf of Haynes's, thank you very much. We consider it a privilege and honor to get to work with school districts like yours and continue to do that, so thank you. Let's jump in. What you've got in front of you is the annual financial report for Kaufman Independent School District for the year ended August 31st, 2024. Let's go to page 3 is where we'll start. This is kind of the whole reason for all the work. This is the independent auditor's report, and it's where we give our opinion on the statements. The words that matter are at the start of the second paragraph there. Excuse me. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly, in all material respects, the respective financial position of the governmental activities. Clean audit, it's what we call a clean audit. Gold star, highest standard you can get. It's called an unmodified opinion. There was nothing needed to change the numbers significantly to make them good. Let's jump over to page 14. This is the governmental funds, and this is kind of where it happens. There's two sets of financials in any kind of school district or government fund type entity. There's the government-wide, which is the much more technical GAAP, auditing standards, accounting standards, financials, and then there's the governmental funds, which are these, and that's where it just shows the money in, the money out. And the column a lot of people care about, and you should, is the first column there, the general fund. You'll see the general fund has total assets of $29 million there, comes down with total liabilities of $3 million. And then the big number, that's the important one, is the second line to the bottom, the fund balance. Fund balance of the general fund is $24.7 million at the end of the year. If you'll jump over to page 16, you'll see how that happens. We're going to focus again on the general fund, the first column there. Total revenues, $48 million for the year. That's about a 6% increase over last year, so a healthy increase in the revenue. The expenditures are $46 million for the year, and that's about a 4 to 5% increase on expenses. So we saw revenue go up a little more than expenses did, a good sign. And then you see the net change, the third number from the bottom. That's the net change that's a positive this year. That is the revenue over the expenses and all over their activities. And so the general fund balance went from 22 million, added 2 million to it, ended up at 24.7 million at the bottom. It's a good number. A benchmark the TEA talks about is having somewhere between 2 to 3 months of your expenses covered in your fund balance. And you've got between 4 and 5 months covered, so good there. Let's jump on back. The other part of the governmental funds, we're going to jump back to page 58. This is all of the other funds that go along with the general fund, and it's really by how the dollars come in. All of these are based on grant. Almost all of these on the first page are the federal funding that you receive. And you'll see along the bottom, other than the child nutrition, breakfast and lunch program, these all balance out to zero on the total fund balances. That's the nature of these funds. You get the money you spend. So when the accounting's done right, you come down to a zero fund balance at the end of every year. The Fund 240 is the child nutrition, school, lunch, and breakfast program. Has a good fund balance of 1.1. If we jump over, you'll see, we're going to jump over to page 62. And this is where we cover the revenue and the expenses of the Fund 240. And you'll see that there's a deficiency. It spent $700,000 more than it brought in. In this case, that's actually good. There's some criteria for this fund that you can't have more than a certain amount of your expenditures in your fund balance. They don't want you building up money with the school program, is really what it boils down to. And so the district's doing a good job of keeping that spent down. They actually got a little bit more to go, I think, to get to the marker. And so people will do that and get equipment and other plans in place. So that's a healthy look for that. We'll just kind of flip back from that point. We get to page 68 and 69. This is the schedule of taxes. It's called the Schedule of Delinquent Taxes Receivable. It shows you there, column 3 is your total appraised value for your district on the properties, and I believe that's right about a 6% increase in the value. And then you see the current year levy, which was a 17.24 million there in column labeled 20 at the top. And then 31 in column 32 show us the collections against that. Again, a healthy number on the collections and staying in the range of previous years. We jump back to page 75. This is where we get into the second set of opinions that we give in our report. And this one is on the internal controls, and then on page 77, it's our opinion on the compliance of the school district with the regulations, with the federal funds received, and complying with all the restrictions and reporting and the activity that needs to go along with those. And again, there, the second paragraph is the important one in our opinion. Kaufman Independent School District complied in all material respects with the types of compliance requirements that are required. And so again, clean bill of health, unmodified opinion, in compliance with the programs. Jump back, just informational, page 82. And worth noting, there's a little more to say. There's no findings in the work on the compliance. That's a little different than the audit one, but no findings. If there were some, sometimes they can be insignificant, significant, corrective actions and resolutions, but none of that at play here. Page 82 is just a detail of it's called Schedule of Expenditures of Federal Awards. If you'll remember, you get what you spend, and so this is really your federal revenue to go along with the federal expenditures for the year, the 6.8 million. That really covers it. We have some very technical things to always cover to say that there were no disagreements with management during the course of the audit. There was no use of outside CPAs during the course. And all the information we requested was replied, given to us quickly, the answers given. Grant and his team, great to work with. They make our job easier. They know what we need, know what we want. Dan probably gets credit for training that some, but I get to come in with it. But great to work with, competent, and just made our job a whole lot better than it can be sometimes. That's the presentation. I'll answer any questions or get the answers if you have any.
240 extra stuff, that was for the tables and stuff, right? And
Correct, so
those lines.
240 fund, they're actually increasing what you can keep in
They
fund
are.
balance
They are.
after this year, of course, now that we've spent it down.
Going to 6 months.
So it's like you were saying, regular fund balance, you have to have at least 3 months. 240 fund balance, that prior it was you can't have more than 3 months. So we were constantly having spend down plans. We spent some, we bought a van for food service this year to replace the kind of Ghostbuster looking van that we used to have. And some tables for Monday, I think got tables this year. Every other campus has received, seems like some tables or some food service equipment at least. But yes, we'll have to spend now probably this one more year, and then when it hits the 6 months, we'll be good for a while, I think.
Okay, and I may not be remembering correctly, but don't y'all like pick certain programs to go through and audit?
We do. Back towards the back there. Right around those letters. So it's page 79. It lists the 2 programs we picked this year. Title I was one of them, and then ESSER 3 we threw back in. ESSERs were always required to be tested during the last few years. They actually weren't required this year, but your district was a little different than all the others. It's been ESSER for years and other stuff, and child nutrition hadn't been tested, and child nutrition was tested here last year. So you have to hit each of the major programs every 2 years. And so we just left child nutrition alone, picked up ESSER, probably be there, in fact, we'll be there this last time, and that's it. So those are the 2 programs.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Perfect. Thank you for your time.
You
Thanks
bet.
for making it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Be safe driving home.
Thank you, I will.
And tell Dan we missed him.
I will.
So he's been here, what? He's on his way back.
I think you moved that one into 8. If you can go back. Now to approve the agenda item. Okay. All right, we're gonna circle back to consent agenda, agenda item number 9B. And we're going to consider and approve the 2023-2024 external audit that was just presented. So,
I'll make that motion.
all right, a motion has been made. Mrs. Mott has seconded. Thank you. All in favor? Perfect. All right. Moving along, now we're gonna go to. What's that? Okay, now we'll go to Amy.
Okay, there are two things tonight. The first is, I believe at the last meeting, we were interested in seeing progress on the district and campus improvement plans. That's always been something that they tracked, but now we're posting it, and so that's just showing you where you can go to find it. They've been updated through the end of December. Campuses will update them at the end of December, at the end of March, and then the summative at the end of July. And so if you go to our website, then you go to the district tab and then district improvement plans, you'll see the district plan. You'll also see links to all of the campus plans. So it's real easy to find. If you have problems, just let me know. Any questions on that? Awesome.
That's a great.
Good. And then the second one are just the calendar drafts. These are not in conjunction with start and end times. That's a separate conversation. But there are two drafts here. We met with DEIC today. We gathered feedback. You're not needing to make a decision or approve one tonight, but you do have time to look over those and just let us know if you have any feedback, because we will do some minor tweaks if we need to, and then send out a survey to all of our community staff and high school students, like we did last year, to vote on their favorite option.
So, high point differences, just the February?
For the most part, like, they have the same number of work days, PD days, all of those items are the same. The February break, it's broken up into like long weekends. And so, I mean, there was kind of a mix of opinions in DEIC today, based on probably what they taught. You know, STAR teachers feel one way, you know, but people are really looking forward to the February break. They felt like they'd probably have a better grasp of how they felt about it after the break, but we will probably bring it before the board prior to.
Thank you.
Yes.
Was that a change in consensus? Because we were kind of with the more, towards the weekend, you know, type off, I guess, 2 years ago, and then it kind of changed.
The February break is new for us. This is our first year we've ever had anything like that.
And so was there a change from opinion back to wanting to do it the other way?
It's just giving people options. And so, giving them, you know, a couple options to look at and see what works best for our students and staff.
That option B kind of looks similar to what we've had in the past, so it's kind of like keeping that same format. Do you want to do what we're doing this year, or do you want to do? And then last year it was kind of like, I don't remember what the percentage was, but it was around 55, 60 for the new calendar. So you still had some folks that wanted to keep the old calendar, so you'll have that same.
Worried about STAR missing that
Yeah.
week, so.
Is there any principal feedback? Can I ask that? I mean.
Well, I could give you the results from last year. The administrative results last year
Okay.
were more in favor of the older calendar because of STAR. Can I say that? Because that was on the results that came up.
Yeah.
Versus this new one that we voted on this year, which was more heavily parent and student driven, which surprised me because I thought parents wouldn't want that week off, but you had a real strong support of parents wanting that week off, which was.
Well, and you'll get the survey results and it will break it down to
It'll break
like
it down.
staff members and.
Yeah.
Because February, okay, so you come back February the 23rd, and then when is, so how much time does that give before STAR? What do we?
STAR's still later, but it's
Yeah.
still,
It's
I
like
think it
April,
just,
you got
yeah,
some
it's
stuff in
later
April.
April, but it still is like missing December, January, then February, then March, so I think that's where the worry
Still
came
even
in,
4 or
is it's
5
like
weeks is
a
pretty.
week.
And it's not very long.
Well, and the number of days are same. It's just, it's broken up to long weekends versus.
We'll look at the data.
Because you kind of, you're back for 3 weeks, then off a week. And back again.
Any other questions for Mrs. Key? All right, Dr. Roberts, what do you have for 10B, Human Resources, Safety and Security Report?
Very, very limited. Human Resources, all the resignations that we did have got on the previous board. And we've had some come in this week, but they didn't make this board meeting. So we currently don't have a resignation list, which is a good thing. We only have one current teaching vacancy, and we're working to fill that. From a safety and security, I would like to say congratulations to Monday for passing their audit today. So, congrats to Monday. We are now 4 for 4 on the year and moving in the right direction there as well. So,
Good job. Grant, bring us home.
All right, so same kind of thing y'all used to seeing here. Everything's looking good on the taxes, revenue and expense side is tracking well. I did want to point out the bond payments have grown just a little bit. Marty, put your fingers in your ears. The interest rates are great for the money that we have invested off of bond proceeds. We actually have more right now than we even started with, even though we've had some payments go out. So that's looking really well and tracking well. That obviously that sheet's going to grow, you know, over the next several months like crazy. But right now, we're kind of in the invest the money and watch it do its thing. Still got projects active, of course, the safety and security and the construction pieces that Marty pointed out tonight are the big ones. Camera systems are still going in, fencing across the district, and some different access things that we're working through. I did something a little different on the fund balance because I don't know if you noticed, but the fund balance went up over $2 million. I realized it was going to be a way larger number than I anticipated because we had our settle up come in. And fund balance is hard. I was trying to give you guys a snapshot idea month to month of what it was looking like it was going to do. But of course, as revenue comes in, at that point in the year, revenue was really only going to, expenditures were done for the year. So really just as the revenue was trickling in, I knew the fund balance was going to jump some, even more than we anticipated. I just didn't know exactly how much. So I completely pulled that off the top of the fund balance. I didn't want to have my prediction and then the audit guy come in and it'd be, you know, something totally different. But I actually thought it was going to be like 1.9. I went to Dr. Garcia earlier this week, or last week, I'm sorry, and said, hey, I think it's going to be closer to 1.9 million. And it actually came in, I was really anticipating that page 16 to see what it was going to be. And it's a little over $2 million. So that's fantastic. Next month's report will have a whole new number there because now we'll have a new benchmark that we've set. And so that 24,739 that he talked about tonight will be that new top number. I'll re-break out all the monthly expenses because since our expenditures went up by 4%, that means our 3 months will go up by a little bit. All of it's kind of a trickle down effect. So I did want to point that out. I was pretty excited to see how that worked. The savings report next. Kind of tracking along there too. The numbers month to month, even historically go back, they change as the formula continues to trickle down back through the months. I called Ideal Impact to verify some of the numbers just to make sure because I was seeing on my savings report some of the numbers would change up and down. And it just has to do with the way that the energy, I guess, formulas work, some of those things. But we're doing really well there. We did have one of our next functional transfers, so I did include that, something that you guys approved at the beginning of this year. I knew that it would be pretty few and far between in the beginning. As we get closer to the end of the year, though, you'll probably see a few more functional transfers come through. This one right here was something that we did for the junior high for a training that they were wanting to bring in, so nothing out of the ordinary there. And then, of course, the long check register and credit card reports.
I have a question.
Okay?
Dell, like, 150,000
Computers?
on
Teacher laptops.
teacher laptops, okay, for all district or
That particular set is gonna be featured for junior high and high school.
junior high and high school, okay? And forklift, did we buy a forklift?
We did, it's not a full-sized forklift. It's something that works in some of the tighter spots in our new warehouse. And
You
so
mentioned we had some machine items that we were gonna be purchasing.
that's February. Coming in February, I'll have a
Laundry
late
list?
Christmas wish list for you to take a
So-
look at.
Out at the service center?
Yes, ma'am. So it's for the new, I kind of went out and there were some areas that they weren't able to utilize the shelving at the top to its full extent. It's because the forklift, it was just kind of too tight of a turn, a little too dangerous to try to go up that high. So they got to looking and they found one, it's kind of a, it's not the stereotypical looking forklift that you ride on. It's kind of a walk behind thing. It's pretty neat, but it's very safe and way cost effective. I actually think they should get another one, but it's a really nice one.
Cool, thank you.
Question on maintenance side. So I noticed, and just having a kid there, at the junior high, there's been a repair attempted 3 times. I know they're having a lot of issues that it's not necessarily like getting fully fixed, and I see that it's on hold. What is?
You want me to move on to the next one?
Yeah, we weren't there yet, but
Oh,
we'll
I'm
go
sorry,
there.
sorry.
We'll get there though.
Just kidding.
All good.
I moved
I don't
on.
mind moving on.
Does anyone have, we'll get there. Anyone have any other questions for finance? All right, Grant, answer a question.
All right, so something that we did, of course, there's a lot of different things going on in the district, but we did add a report on just sort of the roof situation across the district. That one right there is in the junior high cafeteria. And basically, there's a leak that never has gone away in the center of the cafeteria. They've tried to fix it a couple times. So we actually have a company that's gonna come out. They do some kind of a infrared scanning to see where the air's coming through so that we can, it's gonna be about a $5,000 fix. And as opposed to guessing and just hoping that we hit it again this time, we wanted to actually like
Do it right?
find an actual, leak. The problem in a lot of times in the leaks in these schools is where you see it, it doesn't mean it's right above that. So they fixed areas right above that a couple times with the patches getting bigger. It's also one of 2, that roof is one of 2 tar and gravel roofs left in the district, which is something that we're really trying to get away from because of stuff like this. You just can't locate leaks easily. And so the last company that we had come out and bid it, it was gonna be like a 20, I wanna say it's like a 20 by 30 patch, like 20 foot by 30 foot patch to try to fix one leak. And so we found there's a company called Armco and there's one other company that we're looking into, but they can actually, they have some kind of a machine that they get up into the ceiling and shoot it and they can see thermal air coming through to help locate leaks whenever you just can't find them. That's that leak.
Okay.
There's a lot more.
There's a lot more, yes.
Can you explain the priorities, why
Yeah, how
that
it's
one's a
budgeted.
3 versus the other ones that are 1 and 2?
That one is, it's obviously damaging the ceiling tile and it's been a pesky one over the time, but some of the like priority 1, for instance, the green hall at Helen Edwards is a major leak, that's caused us thousands and thousands of dollars worth of, repairs to cabinetry and things of that nature. And so what's going on with that one is in that last big storm that came through, it's been a little while back. It's a TPO roof that they painted some kind of latex seal over it years ago, which created like a sheet that when the wind got under it, it lifted the whole roof sheet and shifted it and then wrinkled it, and it's not fixable. We've cut it, we've patched it, but it's very temporary, it's still leaking, and so that one is a little higher because it's actually damaging other things as well, other than just ceiling tiles. It is gonna require like a full out RFQ and everything for that one. It's a very large expense.
So what type of roof will be replacing?
TPO, without the latex.
Tell me what that is.
TPO is like a plastic,
give it to
it's
us.
like what all the rest of our newer roofs are. I don't know, our Pogue guys are here, they can probably.
It's TPO. I was like, you're on the spot.
It's like a plastic sheet, membrane that goes down. The problem
Give me
wasn't,
first grade level here.
the problem wasn't the TPO of the Helen Edwards, the problem was the latex seal that they painted on it years ago that was supposed to be this long fix. It probably was great, except for the storm came and got under it.
Is this
So-
something insurance can?
No,
That might be a
so-
dumb question.
Yes,
No.
well, no.
No. The minute we do something to it,
Oh, try to fix it.
to fix it, you lose your warranty on it. So,
Right.
y'all correct me if I'm wrong on that. But once, like on this new middle school, you put that roof down and you keep your warranty certificates, your certificate of warranties, and when that roof goes bad, you take it to the warranty and you get it fixed that way. The minute we take matters into our own hands,
Don't touch it.
you lose your warranty,
But
right? Okay.
But the insurance question, insurance would cover it, except that, weather peril deductibles across the state are so high, the deductible is higher than the
Then
fix.
fixing it.
So, there's no point in filing it on insurance.
So what you want is you want your warranty, so whenever we do it.
Right, so we won't fix
Get
it
it
with a,
done, get your warranties and let them fix all the
we
holes.
won't paint it with the latex coating
That
probably
would just
next time.
exclude wind.
Wind, rain.
Act of God.
High school.
Too soon.
Exactly. Like to go.
Is that the same thing?
High school, yeah. Metal, I think, right?
The cafeteria wing, so that one has also been quoted in the contractors coming to repair. We did several quotes on that one. It's a metal roof and not very many, wanted to touch that one. We have a lot of metal roofs also in the district, which is not great. So we're trying to get everything back to TPO is what we're trying to do. That one, so anywhere that metal comes to a valley when water stands, it equals rust, and eventually that rust gives way. So that one is leaking. We got the quote on that one. We've got people scheduled, just gotta get them out to get it fixed.
What does that look like, quote-wise? Like, dollar-wise?
I wanna,
Metal is
I
not,
can tell
metal
you
roofing
exactly
specifically.
what that one is. That one,
I'm just
The repair,
curious
the
of all
repair fix is not gonna be as much as Helen.
the metal, so we had quotes all over the place. The best was $8,800 for the high school one. The Helen Edwards, depending on partial versus full, it's anywhere from 70,000 to 170,000. And then it's just different from there. The junior high one is 4,500.
Y'all want in on some of this action?
Might get it done quicker, I don't know.
They're big
There's a
numbers.
lot of-
Honestly, I think the Helen Edwards, looking at it, and because of warranty situations like that, I think it's gonna be most beneficial to us to fix the whole thing like it should have been fixed in the beginning, so it'll be a little bit more. But because of that number, it requires the school to go through a whole bunch of more steps, so we had to do all
What
that.
you're saying is don't halfway do it right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So with that, do we have to wait until there's a big break, or is that something we can do while kids are, I don't know, I'm just curious.
You're talking about in the summer.
Like a spring break, or, I'm just curious, I'm to.
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay,
I don't
I'm
think
just
so.
curious, yeah.
I don't think so. Obviously, I think it would be more dependent on weather than
Then, like,
the kids being in
kids
the
in the
building
building.
necessarily.
Just curious.
But they actually had to do like core samples of that roof, and it's crazy. That one's really bad. The Helen Edwards one. Sorry, Chrissy.
She knows, she's living it.
She knows. So does Taylor.
So does Miss McNeely. Windows?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
to the wall.
That's a big one. It really is a big job.
Anyone else?
I don't know if I'm
Grant,
here.
great job.
Yeah, thank you, Grant.
Dr. Garcia finishes
The
with some,
baseball
attendance info.
He found us money to solve some of these problems.
Yeah.
Put that in the context there.
Speaking of which, next month,
I'm going to spend all my money.
needs.
So, attendance looking good, well, I mean, we're still at 94% overall, we'd like that number to be 95. Enrollment is still kind of holding steady. I don't know if y'all picked up on the attendance boundary report, that there was a yellow across the board that didn't change regardless. That would have been Helen Edwards. So I did add the capacity there, Casey, that you were asking for, so, you know, capacity is 515, Helen Edwards already there. So just want to keep that on your radar. I know it's mentioned to me a number of times, so just to know that Helen Edwards is already pretty packed, so.
Thank you for doing that. Looks good.
Yeah.
Great. Anyone got any questions regarding this? All right. Thank you guys very much for what you do. We appreciate you being here. See y'all next time.
We're adjourned.
7:11, you are adjourned.